Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. This is Luvcoding.com and this is our Python tutorial. Today we'll be working on Python 3.6 on the spider environment. As you can see, if you want to get this environment, you can go to Google and type download Conda. When you type download Conda, this comes up and you follow this link. When you come to this area, you select download Conda. It's free. So when you do that, it's going to download Conda and then it's going to give you the spider environment. I don't want to download it because I already have the spider on my system. So you can do that for if you want to use spider. Okay, so this is spider, the spider editor, and this is the IPython console. So when you download the Anaconda, you get the whole environment integrated. Please, you can join us on our YouTube channel, Luvcoding. You can also join us on our Facebook page so that you can get regular updates and get information when new videos are out. So today we're working on Python and we're going to be looking at data types in Python. There are several data types in Python. We have numbers, string, list, tuples, and dictionaries. But today we're gonna be talking on strings. We'll be discussing on strings today. In Python, strings are basically values that are enclosed in quotes. Any value enclosed in quotes is a valid string in Python. The quotes could be double quotes, triple quotes, as you can see here. This is a triple quote, and normally the triple quote is used when you want to put in a statement like a comment in your code. And the comment you have a long comment, it's always good to use the triple quotes, as you can see here. But this is also a string. We also have single quote string, like the example here, var1 equals this, enclosed in single quotes, and we also have the double quote string. So simply, if you want to write declare strings in Python, just name it with any variable and then enclose a value in quotes, single or double quotes. And when you have a long comment, you can enclose it in triple quotes as you have here. So this is a valid example of string in Python. We can run this using the print statement. You run with the small black arrow here if you're using the spider environment. So this is the output, the string in the quote. If you don't want to use this environment, you can also download the normal idle for Python. Simply go to Google and type download Python, and then you select the version you want to use. So this is the version 3.6 that we're using. You can download that one if you want to use the regular idle for Python. But today we're using the spider environment that comes with Anaconda. It has a spider editor on this side of the window, and it has the IPython console for your results or the output of your codes. So this is another example, var2. If you run this example with the print statement here, it's going to display the output on this side of the window, so you can see, hello, I love programming with Python. So that is a valid quotes, valid strings in Python, using the single quotes or double quotes or the triple quotes. So this is another one I've said earlier in double quotes. If I use the print statement to display this on the screen to give you exactly what is in the codes. The same thing with this, but this is just a longer statement. So I said long separated string because it's a longer string, as you can see. So this just to show us that you can have your string as long as possible. You can have any kind of item in your string, any kind of character like the question mark, underscore, plus, or anything at all. As long as you enclose it in a double or a single quote, it's a valid string in Python. Now let's talk about some operations on Python string. The first operation we're going to talk about is the concatenation operator, which is simply putting two strings together. Like if you have this string here, var2, and you have postcode, and want to put them together as a single string, we use the concatenation operator depicted by the plus sign. So look at a simple example here. var1 equals hello in single string quote, var2 equals Mr. Smith in single quote. Then name is another variable to join the first variable and the second variable to become one single variable called name. So if you use a print statement to run this on the console, it becomes hello Mr. Smith and not separate hello and separate Mr. Smith. That is the concatenation operator in Python using the plus sign. All it does is to simply put two strings together to become a single string. You can also put it directly in a print statement like this. You can say print any kind of string you desire plus any other kind of string you want. Or you can put as much as you like, as much as signs, plus signs that you like to put the strings together, like you can see here. So when you run this print statement, it's going to give us two single strings. This is the first string and this is the second string. So that is the concatenation operator in Python. The concatenation operator helps us to put two strings together by simply using the plus sign. But both sides must be valid string, or else you might have an error message. Here, the same thing we have done before. var1, var2, and a name is a variable to add both of them together. But I just want to show you the repetition operator. Unlike the plus sign for concatenation, the repetition operator with asterisks simply repeats a given string for the amount of time specified here. So because we have specified 2 here, it's going to repeat this string 2 times. So this string is a name. You get it by combining var1 and var2 to form a new variable called a name, and then you repeat the variable twice because you have 2 here. If you put 4 here, it's going to repeat the variable 4 times. That is a repetition operator, different from the concatenation operator that simply puts 2 strings together. This repeats a given string for a certain number of times as you specify. So we can run this. So it repeats hello Mr. Smith twice, combines the string together as one string, and then repeats the string twice. But you can do the same with the plus sign, the concatenation operator. You cannot add 2 directly to the value of a name. A name is hello Mr. Smith, combination of variable 1 and variable 2 to form one single variable, hello Mr. Smith. If I want to add 2 to hello Mr. Smith, the value of a name here, it's not going to be possible because you cannot directly add an integer to a string. So for us to be able to do that, okay, before we do that, we could run this to see. It's going to give us an error message. So it's going to give us an error message. It must be string. You can only put 2 strings together, and not a string and an integer or any other data type together. So if you want to do this, if you really want to add 2 to the value of your string, all you need to do is to cast the value of the string from the value of this 2 from integers to string by simply using the string keyword, the str keyword. So now say print a name, the value of var1 plus var2 plus the string of 2. It now becomes a single string. This variable here plus 2 added to it to form a single string. So we can run it now. So we now have hello Mr. Smith and 2 is added to it. There are other operators in Python. Let's talk about the slice operator. The slice operator is very useful, helps us to get a particular element from the string, like we have var1 to be hello, If we want to get maybe L or O, how do we get the value? We can do this by using the slice operator. So what do we do? We look for the index. Index is the position of the item in its location, and the position of the item you're looking for in its storage, in the location where it is stored. So the index starts from zero. That means the first item on the string is in index 0. So H is index 0, E is 1, L 2, L 3, O 4. So var1 square bracket 2 is to get to the element in the index 2, the element in index 2, not the second element, but the element in index 2. Remember, the index tells how the items in the string are arranged in the location where they are stored. So if I say print var1 2 in square bracket, it's going to get me the element in index 2. And remember, the index starts from 0 for the first item on the string, 1, 2. So it's going to give us L when we print this on the console. So it's going to give us L. So, but in the second example, they're just var1 square bracket colon, nothing else, no number specified. This is a range operator. It's actually used to take from a particular position, maybe from here to here. If you want to get not all the elements, but from one point to another point, you use a range operator by simply putting colon in between the square brackets. So when you say print var1 colon without anything specified, it simply means give me everything, every element on the string. So we can run this and see. It gives you every element on the string. But if you want to get it maybe from E to L here, then you need to get the position, the index position of E and L. E is in position 1, this is 0, this is 1, index position 1. So you're going to start from 1 here, at the beginning here. You're going to put 1, start from 1, and end at 3. This is 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. But the thing is, if you put 3 here, it's not going to select this value. So if you want to get this value, then you must put the position of the value you want to get plus 1. The position of the last element you want to get plus 1. So because this element is in position 3, we're going to put 4. We're going to start from 1 here up to 4. Because if I put 3 here, it's not going to get the element in that position. So let's run it and see. ELL 1, 2, and 3. 0, 1, 2, and 3. But I've put 4. The number to specify at the end here must be 1 plus the position of the item you really want to get. The position of the item you really want to get plus 1. That is the number you can specify for the end, for the range, the end range of your query. So if I change this to 3 and run it again, it's going to give us EL. Normally the slice operator does not get the item on the position specified. Rather, it gets the item on the position specified -1 location. So the last example is var1 start from 0, stop at 1. So definitely this is going to give us just H, because E is in index 1, and like we have discussed, the item in the index specified here is not selected. So if we run this, it's going to give us just H. Yeah, so that is H. So that is, you can go on and on, but there is one example here that has a negative. So, okay, let's talk about this. When you have a number here without a number at the end, it simply means start from the number here and go up to the end, because there is no number here to tell you where to stop. So start from the number here, go on up to the end. The same thing when there is no number at the beginning, start from the number, the beginning, the first number here, and then end wherever you're asked to end. No number at the beginning, start from the beginning, end where you're supposed to end. But these negative numbers are simply telling us to count from the right. get all the elements in hello starting from the right. That is when we use the negative numbers. So the last element here is index -1, -2, -3, 4, and 5, and so on. So when you want to get the item from the right side, you do your indexing with a negative sign. So it's going to be -1, -2, and so on. But if you want to start from the left side, then you start from the index 0. If you're starting from the right to get the elements on the string, you start from index -1. Please, you're free to ask for questions. If you're on our Facebook page, you can drop your question on the comment box. Or if you're on our YouTube channel, you're welcome to drop your question. Then if you're on our site, you can chat us up at any time. You can send us email. You can speak with us whenever you have any question at all. You're always welcome to put in your contributions or suggestions. And don't forget, we are on luvcoding.com. Our YouTube channel is Luvcoding, and our Facebook page is also Luvcoding. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page so that you can get our regular updates. The next operator we're going to talk about, we just talked about the concatenation operator using the plus sign, repetition operator using the asterisk sign, and the slice operator using the squared bracket, then the range operator using squared bracket and the colon. The next one is the in operator, which is a membership operator that tells us if a given string or substring can be found in a string. For instance here, var1 equals hello, and the statement says if fe5 is in var1, print yes. Of course, if you look at var1, there is nothing like fe5 as a string. It has to be the same complete string to be correct, to be true. There is no complete fe5 as a string or a substring of hello. So this is not going to be true. So it's not going to print yes because that statement is not true. So nothing is printed because the statement is not true. In the next statement, if a1 is not in var1, print yes. Definitely yes, because there is no a1 in var1. This is var1 here, standing for hello, and then there is no a1 in var1. So it's going to print yes. So that is called the membership operator. It's very useful. Yes, very useful to tell us, to help us to check if a particular substring or item is in a given item. Another important operator is the raw string operator. It's very useful because it helps us to print our statement exactly the way we want it. For instance, the first statement says print what is your name /t. The slash character or symbol is used in Python for escape, as an escape symbol. What it simply means, when you see slash, escape to somewhere. In this case, t, tab, you escape to tab space. In this case, n, new line, you escape to a new line. And in this case, you're going to escape to a file path. So if I don't include the raw string operator, it's just going to escape, move the cursor to a new tab. It's not going to print, if you want to print /t on the screen and you don't include the raw string operator, it's not going to be possible. So let's run this and see. It prints it. When I click my cursor, it moves to a tab. You can see my cursor here move to a tab space, but you will not get it clearly until we start getting inputs from the keyboard. That's when you see how the tab, the slash symbol operates. So in the second example, there is no slash, so it's going to print exactly what we have. The problem is when we have a slash, the Python interpreter thinks or sees the slash as escape symbol, and then it expects to move to the location specified, either a new tab, a new line, or a file path. Now the third one is print statement with an R at the beginning. This simply means whatever you have on the statement should be printed exactly on the console. The R there is simply telling the interpreter to print exactly what it has here, that this slash is not for escape, don't move to a new line. That is what the R here is doing. So we can run this to see. Yeah, so unlike the first one where the cursor moved to a tab space, in this case the /n was printed. But look at the example where I remove the slash n. When I remove the r, let's see what happens to the slash n. The slash n is gone. Cursor moves to a new line. When I want to type anything, it goes to a new line, you can see. So these are just simple examples, /t tab and then /t with the tab. Just print it the way it is. So we can just run this to see. So that's it. The first one, /t moves the cursor to a tab space. Second one just printed out /t for us on the screen. The last example there, like I've said earlier, is a file path. So if I don't have the raw string, it's gonna move straight to programs in my computer, the programs folder in the computer. But that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to print on the screen for me as the output C://. So if I don't include the R, it's going to move this as if it's going to go to a file path, and then it will remove one of the slash because it sees that one as an escape symbol. So we can run this to see. So it's removed one of the slashes and then moves to the program folder. But if we include the R, it's just going to print exactly what we have here on the console. You can see. Okay. So that is just the raw string operator. We talked about the concatenation operator, repetition operator, in operator, not in operator, slice operator, range operator, and now the raw string operator. Let's look at string formatting in Python. We can format string in Python using there are different methods you can use, but today we're going to be talking about the %sign, which is not normally usual with it's not new, these days the %sign is not very common. So but let's look at how it works. It's very useful when you're expecting inputs from users. Variable input, maybe not a large number of input from the user. That is when the formatting is very useful, to reserve the space for the input that's going to come on later. So look at the example here, var1 and var2. Hello, Mr. Smith. Then greetings. I want to say whatever to whatever. This %s has reserved space to two variables that's going to come in later, and these variables must be string. That is why it's %s. So for instance, I don't know what the value is going to be, but the space has been reserved. Whenever the values come, it has to be replaced here. But before it has to work, I have to include this at the end of the statement. %var1, var2, where var1 and var2 are the variables you are expecting. So we can run this to see what it looks like. I want to say hello to Mr. Smith. So what happened? I want to say hello to Mr. Smith. So what happened? The position reserved here were filled up using the variables declared up here. So we reserve the space with the %s symbol and then asked this, the interpreter to fill those spaces with the variable 1 and variable 2 declared here. So like I said, it's very useful for when you're going to get inputs from users. So if you look at the example here, var1 equals input, enter your first word. var2, enter your name. Then greeting, I want to say %s to %s, %var1, var2. So the var1, var2 are the variables you're going to enter, which might change at any time. Whatever values you enter will be used to replace %s and %s. So we can run this to see how it works, using the input. Enter your first word. Thank you. Your name, definitely Grace. Sorry. I want to say thank you to Grace. So the space was reserved, and after the user entered the values, then the statement was completed with the values that was entered. the next example is the same thing, but in this case, we're going to be using brace brackets to reserve the space rather than using the %s, which is even better because if you're going to be using the % symbol, if you're bringing in a double value, double number, a number that is a double value, you're going to be saying %d. If it's an integer value, %i, and so on. So sometimes you might get confused as to which value you're going to be bringing in. So to avoid those kind of problem, the best thing to use is this brace brackets. So just reserve your spaces or your space with the brace brackets. So the same thing we have done here, but in this case, the spaces were reserved. But if you're going to be using the brace bracket, then you're going to fill up the space, the statement, by ending it with dot format, different from %. You're going to say dot format var1, var2. So this gets the value from the keyboard or from the user and fills up the space. So if you run it, it's going to give you the same thing as we have before. I want to say hello to Mr. Smith. And if you run the one with the inputs, the same thing. Enter your first word. Fine. Your name can say Joy. I want to say fine to Joy. So the same thing that we have discussed before. Let's look at another operator, which is also a method, the join operator or the join method. It's a method and it's an operator because it combines two, it works with string just like most of these other operators we have mentioned. The join method or operator needs three basic things to work. First, it needs an item with which it will join. We need an item for joining elements, then you need a list or a sequence that need to be joined. So, for instance here, we're going to be using double asterisks and then a tuple. It can be a list, it can be a string, it can be a tuple. Whatever value it is, the item here that we're going to be using to combine it is going to join each item on your list or item on your sequence. You're going to be joined together by using whatever the symbol or the character that you have declared here. So you can change this to plus plus, change it to anything you like. Whatever it is, it's going to be used to concatenate or to add up these strings or these values to become one. So here we're having an example of a tuple. We'll talk about tuple next. So we can run this to see how it works. Oh, sorry, this print statement was not selected, so no print here. So let's select the print statement, then we'll print it. So it's going to add everything together, put them together, just like the concatenation operator that puts strings together. That's what the join operator does. But the join can put both the string, both list and tuple together using any item that has been specified. The same thing works for the list. Any string.join mlist, whatever you have here is used to combine the items in the list together. The same thing for the string. Whatever you have here is used to add all the string or each item. Remember, it's going to add each item of the string. Unlike the tuple and the list, it's adding each item, not considering the space, but here it's going to be adding each item, not considering anything. So we can run it so you can see what it's going to look like. So you see, the first one, ABC, is combined plus plus, and second one, the man is coming, combined plus plus. Then the third one, each item has been combined with the plus plus. That is the join method or the join operator. It's very useful because if you want to, anyway, we'll talk about that later. You can see other usefulness of the join operator. Now let's talk about methods string methods in Python. Yeah, we need to talk about the method because if you're going to be working on large data, you need to know the various methods that can be used on your string. The first one we have, okay, before we go into that, let's run these little lines of code here because we're going to be using these items for our test, for testing the code or the methods rather. So just run this, everything here, they're over here. Welcome to our Python tutorial. That is a string here. So print any string, printed this on the screen. And then we'll have this, and every other thing. So the first method on the list here is the capitalize method. Like the normal capitalize you have your Office or Microsoft Word, it simply capitalizes the first item on the string. So already we have any string on the console. So we'll run any string here. Run any string does capitalize. It capitalizes only the first item, just like the normal capitalize in Microsoft Word. Any string dot center centralizes the items on any string and fills up the remaining space with a plus sign. It centralizes the items and then fills the remaining spaces with anything that has been specified here. The count method. Remember, this is just a string. The one in the double quotes is just a string and going to be printed on the screen just like that. This is what we're looking for. Any string dot count sub. We want to look at any string and count sub. And what is sub? Sub is a sub string, he. So we want to count, check how many times do we have he in this string. This is a string, any string, and this is sub. So the count method counts how many times the sub string or sub item comes in the main item. But the same thing with the second one. This second one is still the count method, but the difference is that this second one counts the item starting from the 0 up to the end. Length of the item means from beginning to end. The size, the number of items, that's the length. That's the length function. The size or the number of items in the string or the list or the sequence or the tuple. So the same thing, both of them. The difference is this syntax asks the interpreter to search for sub starting from 0 to the end of any string. So it's going to start from the beginning, and then, but the second one did not specify where to start from, but it's definitely going to start from the beginning. So the first one, string.count he, which is this string, is printed on the screen and then counted and is 0. The second one, count sub he, start from 0 to the end. The length means the total number of items. Count everything to check for he, and then the output is 0, meaning there is no he in the string. Expand tab 18. Here is expand tabs is the method to expand the number of spaces for tab. Like we have talked about tab at the beginning here, where we talk about /t as a tab. So this is tab command /t. So, but in this case, it's gonna expand, not just give just one tab space, but 18 tab space. That is the expand tabs number of spaces. So you run this. Okay, that's for any string 1, not any string. Okay, there are two strings. You have any string, or have any string 1. So this is the one we're going to use now, any string 1. Let me just run everything so that I have them on the console. Okay, so I have any string 1 already. So any string 1 dot expand tabs 18. So it increases the number of the tab space by 18. So we can run this. So say the first example, hello sir, that was the first one with just a /t. /t moves it to a tab position, but the second one expand the tab by 18 spaces and it moved it by 18 spaces. Any string dot end with endchar. What is endchar? We have declared endchar as a character to check with endchar is 0. So we want to see whether in any string, whether any string ends with 0. That is what this command here is saying. Any string dot ends with 0. Does it end with 0? No. So you check for endchar starting from 0 up to the length of any string. Remember I said the length is the number of items. So check all the number of items and see if you can find endchar. So we can run that. Who have we run to? We'll run down. Okay, so we're here. So we can run this false. It's going to give us false because it doesn't end with 0. Any string.title checks if any string is a title case, and of course it's not a title case, it's a small letter. Yeah, it's a lowercase. So that's what this stands for. So you can go on and on and on. These are all the methods you have in for string. So just for you to just go on and run them, then you can see what they look like. So I think we're going to stop here today. In our next lesson, we'll continue, and then we'll talk about list and tuple and dictionary as our basic introduction for Python before we go into the advanced classes. We really appreciate you for joining us today, and we hope you have enjoyed our lesson today. Please feel free to ask your questions or leave your comments below. If you're on our YouTube channel, subscribe so that you can get our new videos. If you're on the Facebook page, you can like our page so that you can get our updates. And if you're on our site, we're happy to have you. Please drop your comments and your contributions. So thank you once again. This is Luvcoding, and we hope to see you in the next class. Thank you.